Right now, somewhere, a person is staring into a mirror, terrified of a single tiny cavity. 50,000 years ago, that exact same fear existed. No toothpaste, no dentist, no soft little brush with a smiling cartoon on the handle. So how did a human keep their teeth for 30, 40, 50 years with nothing at all? And this was not a minor worry. A rotten tooth back then could turn into an infection that reached the blood and ended a life. And yet somehow they kept their teeth, generation after generation. Today we are going to uncover exactly how, step by step, and some of it will quietly embarrass the toothpaste aisle. A Stone Age chewing gum that still holds a teenager's teeth marks. The simplest cleaning tool imaginable, hiding in plain sight. A black manufactured substance older than farming, invented by Neanderthals. The strange trade-off between gritty food and healthy gums. And the uncomfortable truth modern dentists do not love to admit. And a strange side effect of fire that quietly guarded their gums. Every one of these is real and backed by physical evidence you can still hold today. Stay with me to the very end, because the last one will change how you see your bathroom sink forever. But to understand any of it, you first have to feel what a mouth was really up against back then. Let me start with the claim that sounds insane. Ancient teeth were often healthier than modern teeth. Not always, but shockingly often. When archaeologists dig up hunter-gatherer skulls, they find something strange. Very few cavities. Mouths full of strong, worn, intact teeth. Here is what nobody admits in the toothpaste commercials. The enemy was never dirt. The enemy was sugar. And for most of human history, sugar barely existed. There was no candy aisle. There was no soda, no birthday cake, no breakfast cereal shaped like a cartoon. A hunter-gatherer ate meat, roots, nuts, and the occasional lucky handful of berries. Berries were a seasonal jackpot, not a daily habit. So the bacteria that cause cavities had almost nothing to feed on. Think of your mouth as a tiny city. The bacteria are the residents. Sugar is the all-you-can-eat buffet. Modern life keeps that buffet open 24 hours a day. The Stone Age kept it closed almost permanently. That, more than anything, protected ancient teeth. But that is only half the story. Because they also cleaned. Let me show you how. The first tool was the simplest tool imaginable. A stick. Not just any stick, though. A chew stick. You take a fresh twig, you fray one end with your teeth, and you scrub. The frayed fibers act like 1,000 tiny bristles. This is not a guess. We have found the evidence written directly into ancient teeth. Tiny grooves worn into the sides of teeth in exactly the spot a chew stick would sit. These marks show up across the world and across time. Africa, Europe, Asia. The chew stick may be one of the oldest tools humanity never stopped using. Because here is the wild part. People still use it today. The miswak, a chewing stick from the Salvadora persica tree, is used by millions right now. The World Health Organization has even recommended it. So the then is a person fraying a twig by a fire. And the now is a person buying that exact same twig in a sealed plastic wrapper. We did not improve the idea. We just added barcodes. But which twig you chose actually mattered. Some plants do more than scrub. This brings us to the chemists who never knew they were chemists. Certain trees fight back against being chewed. They are full of natural compounds that kill bacteria. The neem tree in India is famously bitter and antibacterial. The miswak twig contains compounds that genuinely reduce plaque. So an ancient person chewing the right stick was getting a scrub and a mild antiseptic at once. They did not know the word antiseptic. They just knew this stick made your mouth feel clean, and that stick did not. Knowledge like that gets passed down for 10,000 years without a single textbook. Now let me get to the discovery that genuinely stunned scientists. The tar. For decades, the story of Neanderthals was simple and insulting. Brutes. Knuckle-draggers who grunted and lost to us. The evidence has been quietly demolishing that story for years. And the prime exhibit is glue. Neanderthals made adhesive. Specifically, they made birch bark tar. This is the shocking paradox I promised you at the start. Birch tar is a sticky black substance used to glue stone tools onto wooden handles. And making it is not easy. This is the part that breaks people's brains. To get tar out of birch bark, you cannot just set it on fire. Fire destroys the tar. You need to heat the bark hot, around 340 to 400 degrees Celsius. But you must do it with almost no oxygen. That is a controlled low-oxygen, high-heat process. We have a name for that today. It is basically a primitive chemistry lab. One method buries the bark in a pit and seals it from air. Another rolls the bark into a tube and heats it just right. Get the temperature wrong, and you get ash. Get the air wrong, and you get nothing. A Neanderthal had to control an invisible variable, oxygen, with no thermometer and no instructions. And the dates are staggering. Some birch tar finds in Europe are around 200,000 years old. That is long before our species even arrived in the area. So the textbooks get this backwards. We imagine ourselves as the clever ones who showed up and invented everything. But the first known synthetic material made by a human hand was made by Neanderthals. Let that settle. The first manufactured substance in human history was glue. Quick one before the best part. Subscribe and tell me in the comments which ancient struggle I should decode next. Now here is where it ties back to your mouth. People did not only glue with tar, they chewed it. We have found lumps of birch tar with human tooth marks pressed into them. Some are tens of thousands of years old. Why would anyone chew tar? A few reasons, and they are very human. You chewed it to soften it before using it as glue. You chewed it because it may have soothed sore gums or toothaches. And you possibly chewed it the way we chew gum, out of pure restless habit. Birch tar even has mildly antiseptic properties. So this black, sticky lump was doing a little quiet work for your mouth. Here is the then and now that I love. Then a person chews a black blob of tree tar by a fire. Now a person chews a pink rectangle of flavored polymer in a car. Same instinct. Same jaw. We just made the blob taste like watermelon. And remember that 5,000-year-old gum from the very beginning? It was birch tar, chewed and spat out in what is now Denmark. Scientists pulled an entire human genome out of it. From spit. They learned she likely had dark skin, dark hair, and blue eyes. They even found traces of what she had recently eaten, including hazelnuts and duck. A teenager's discarded gum became a time capsule of an entire human being. You will never throw out gum the same way again. Let us talk about the thing modern teeth lack. Grit. Ancient food was rough. It was full of fibers, tough roots, and chewy meat that demanded real work. Grinding grain on stone added tiny bits of stone dust to the bread. That grit acted like a mild natural scrubber and a polisher. Modern food is the opposite. It is soft, processed, and basically pre-chewed for us. A modern smoothie asks your teeth to do almost nothing. An ancient meal was a full jaw workout. Now grit had a cost. Ancient teeth are often heavily worn down, flat from decades of grinding. But here is the strange trade. That heavy wear sometimes wore away the very grooves where cavities like to start. So their teeth aged differently than ours. Ours rot. Theirs simply wore down. It is the difference between a tire that goes flat and a tire that goes bald. Neither is perfect, but the worn tire still rolls. There is one more weapon, and it is the strangest of all. Smoke. Living around constant fire smoke is not great for your lungs. But smoke is also full of compounds that kill bacteria. Smoke-dried meat lasts longer because the smoke fights microbes. Some researchers think life inside a smoky environment gave ancient mouths a small antibacterial bonus. A side effect, not a plan. They were not fumigating their gums on purpose. They were just trying not to freeze. But the human body is full of accidental gifts like this. A lot of survival was never a clever plan. It was a lucky side effect of doing something else. So let us put the whole picture together. Strip away the modern myth that ancient people were filthy. Now line up what they actually had. A diet with almost no sugar. Chew sticks that scrubbed and disinfected. Tar that soothed and cleaned. Grit that polished. Smoke that fought bacteria. None of it was a marketing campaign. All of it worked. Here is the uncomfortable truth at the center of this. We did not invent dental health. We invented the problem and then sold the cure. We flooded our lives with sugar, then built a billion-dollar industry to clean up the damage. The caveman did not need toothpaste. We need toothpaste because of how we eat now. That is not a reason to throw out your toothbrush. Please do not throw out your toothbrush. Fluoride is real, and it genuinely protects your enamel. Modern dentistry saves real teeth and real lives every single day. The point is not that the old way was better. The point is that smart was never new. Now zoom all the way out. Somewhere in a cold European night, a Neanderthal sat by a fire. They held a glowing pit of bark, watching invisible chemistry they did not have a word for. They made a black substance no animal had ever made. And then, almost as an afterthought, they chewed it. Maybe their gums ached. Maybe they were just bored and restless, the way you are when you reach for gum at a red light. That same itch. That same jaw. Across 200,000 years of cold and fire and forgotten faces, that instinct survived. The desire for a clean mouth and a moment of comfort is ancient. Older than language. Older than us. So tonight, when you stand at your sink and brush your teeth, remember something. If this changed how you see your toothbrush, hit subscribe so the next decode finds you. You are not doing something new. You are repeating one of the oldest small rituals our kind has ever practiced. A creature by a fire taking care of itself. That care is ancient, and it is still you.